Hello and welcome to another Solihull podcast, brought to you from the Solihull Observer, the Solihull Radio, the Solihull Bid, and also What's on Solihull. I'm Claire Bullivant from the Observer, and it's a fabulous full house today with all four of us here in the house, including Mr. Solihull himself, Mr. Solihull Radio, Geoff O'Brien.
Hello, everybody.
Mover and shaker, Solihull Bid CEO, Melanie Palmer.
Hello.
And the man who puts Solihull on the map with some of the best events on the planet, Ian Rogers.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, guys.
How's it all going, everyone? It's nice to be all in the same room, isn't it?
It's been a while.
That's great stuff.
The dream team is back.
It's totally back. Yeah, let's talk through some of this week's biggest news stories.
Okay.
Let's start off with the front page on this week's Solihull Observer. This is all about the Solihull School and St Martin's merging together to become one, as they say. What do we think about this?
Yeah, it's all changed. I think for me, from a business perspective,
Yeah.
I look at this as the fact of it looks like St Martin's was going to close and Solihull School have stepped in and they've kept a school open. And so they've created an opportunity rather than a school going wayside. So I see the good in it, but I can imagine there's a lot of people that are going to see where it's going from a single-sex school to a mixed school.
So St Martin's is all girls, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now they are going to
They'll be
have
a mixed.
and use one of the schools. One of your guests in the studio was just talking about her husband or something works there.
Yeah, exactly.
And they think it's kind of a little bit political.
Yeah. And she didn't go much further than that when we were
No.
discussing it, did she?
Well, in your previous life, Geoff, you were a teacher. What will the pupils think?
It's tricky to say. I've not been in the independent school sector. And I think let me preface this. The last time I had a chat with Mr. Lloyd, who is the head teacher of Solihull School, we were both in the garden at Buckingham Palace. And we were having...
You show
I
off.
know.
Just
I know
drops
that one
in
dropped
there.
really quietly.
And yeah.
What were you
Could
doing in the garden of Buckingham Palace? I need to know this first.
We were collecting some awards, and I was collecting it on behalf of my school.
Right.
And he was there on behalf of Solihull School, and we were standing having a cup of tea, and we sort of bumped into each other and had a quick chat. And this is just before, you're going to have to help me, rugby players. James Gaskell? Big England rugby guy. If you've seen him on the media for Grenade bars,
Right.
at Hampton in Arden, local business. And he absolutely massive rugby player. Couldn't believe it. So imagine the photograph of me shaking his hand, collecting my award, and it was just comical. But yeah, I had a quick chat, and he seems a really nice guy. He's really switched onto it. So maybe the kids will get it, but I'm not too sure. Ian, I like your point of view. I think,
yeah, it feels like they're stepping in to
help them
assist
out.
the situation. And from Solihull School's point of view, it kind of strengthens what they do within the town. So instead of just offering a comprehensive and a sixth form, they've now got a junior and an infant wing and a chance to sort of bring their students through that motion and probably get the best education for them.
Sure.
So I see it as a positive. But
Well, it hasn't happened yet. It does say in the article that it's conditional on a number of legal matters being completed. So we don't know. It's definitely not written in stone or anything.
No.
But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I do think it's something to bear in mind as well, because obviously we all have personal viewpoints on single-sex schools. I personally don't agree with them. So I just think that it'll be interesting to see those parents of girls that were going to be there, girls-only school, merging with a mixed school. See what their point of view is. But
do you think a lot of them will find a different school to go to?
Potentially.
So they'll perhaps lose a cohort or something?
are there alternatives within the area for single-sex schools?
There are some amazing schools, aren't there, around here? I don't know about the single-sex. It's
No.
kind of a bit going out of fashion, isn't it, this single-sex thing? And I think for good reason, because I just know from my days, long, long ago, but all my friends who used to go to all-girls schools, they're all just a bit crazy. And when they go to university, though, they can't cope with the boys there.
It's a strange one, isn't it?
Tricky one, that. So let us know if you have any ideas or viewpoints on that, why don't you get in touch, studio@solihullradio.com, or get in touch with Claire at The Observer.
And if my friends are listening to this, I mean crazy in the nicest sense of the word, of course.
Good ending, Claire.
Good rescue.
On page 7 of this week's Observer, there's a story that, Mel, I think you should tell us a little bit about, because I've seen you on a lot of social media this week holding up posters and things. It's a new project for rough sleepers.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this.
So this is the Change into Action project, which had been started in Birmingham. West Midlands Combined Authority, Andy Street, has been pushing this, and there wasn't a Solihull arm of it. So the BID, working with the council, have pushed for us to have our own section of this and to take part in the project here. So that was launched officially. It's been running for a couple of months, but it was launched officially last week. So it's a fantastic scheme, and it's where we're trying to get the public to understand that they need to give their funds, their cash, their spare bit of cash to the charity rather than give it to people on the street, because that's preventing the professionals out there that can really help change people's lives. It's stopping them from doing their job because it's keeping people on the street by giving them funds directly. So it's been really, really well received in Birmingham, and we know that we'll get it even better in Solihull. So.
How do the people that are on the street, how have they reacted to this? Because presumably they all have seen a downturn in the amount of hard money, currency that they're being given.
Yeah, and I think a positive outcome for this is because Solihull is unlike most boroughs, I would say, in the country, that the provision, the care and the intervention for anybody who's homeless, struggling, vulnerable, if they've got substance, drug abuse issues, then the care that is in Solihull is second to none. So there's a massive sort of network out there. But also, there is a good news story already. We've got a chap who has now noticed that he's not receiving the funds he was receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's gone to the big issue.
All right.
So he's starting to really focus on getting himself well and doing things through the professional organisations out there. So that's a really good news story for us. That's a small beginning.
Because without beating around the bush, if you do give the cash to some of the homeless people, it just goes straight on drugs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so the best way, this is going to the organisations that will help them, and hopefully, that's fantastic. That's a great story. We need to get that one in the Observer next week. Tell our editor about that guy who's gone to the big issue.
Yeah, I've only just found out from the our enforcement officers. Obviously, in their new role, they're very close to seeing the changing picture on the high street and in the town centre with the beggars and rough sleepers that we've got.
So it's Change into Action, and the website is just changeintoaction.org.uk if people would like to donate. Fantastic.
And you'll see the Solihull page there.
There is, and I've also noticed that your town hosts are going around talking to people as well and being part of that. There's a couple of collection points: Sporting Barbers and Specsavers on the High Street, William Hill on Station Road, Touchwood, Asda up at Parkgate in Shirley. So if you want to make a donation, you can go there, and it's also streetlink.org.uk, or you can telephone the number 0300 500 0914. But if you have a read on page 7 of this week's Observer, you'll find all of those details.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned it was Andy Street's idea. What a brilliant idea. And he's up for re-election, you just told me from reading the article.
Go Andy.
Yeah, we love Andy Street, don't we?
We do.
Fantastic. Well, our next story is all about, on page 7 of this week's paper, and it's all about these new bleed kits for stabbing victims. It sounds a bit horrible, doesn't it?
Do you know what I said last week on last week's show? No stabbings, no gun crime or anything like that. And there it is.
Well,
page 7.
they listen to us because they've put these kits out there, obviously. They're listening to the podcast. Yeah. Basically, it's 400 kits. They're going to contain bandages and dressings to stem the flow of blood until paramedics arrive. And they're going to roll out across Solihull and Coventry. What do we think about this, though? I mean, it's going to cost £38,000, which...
For 400 first aid kits?
With bandages and... I know, that's what I was just reading in the article. But last year, there were 3,000 sentences of knife crimes, and 50 of those resulted in death. So maybe... this is a good idea, but my question is, where are they going to be? If someone's...
How would you know where they are?
Yeah.
There's lots of questions, isn't
Lots
there?
of questions. I mean, it's great
It
that
seems a
they're
bit
trying.
vague.
Yeah, it is a bit vague, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great that they're trying.
So why are we spending 38 grand on this?
If £38,000 saves one life,
Yep.
That's a very good point.
It's worthwhile. So,
Yeah.
but from a, I'm sure my concern would be, where are the kits, how do you get to them, and where are they located, I guess, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think the actual kits themselves are slightly, well, they're hopefully more efficient than obviously what you were just talking about, Geoff.
Jeff's school shirt.
Jeff's school shirt. Because
they
they do have something, I believe, in there that just helps the blood sort of
Okay, so
coagulate or whatever. There's something.
there's
It's not
something
just
proper.
a cloth. I think it does have something.
Okay.
Which, when they've looked at the research in London, I think in particular with all the knife crime there, if there had been a kit that could have got to a victim sooner, it would have saved their life.
And
Fair
I
enough.
assume these kits are probably user-friendly, as in so much as like they've probably got instructions of what to do, whereas you've been on your first aid kit, you know, to rip your shirt and your tie off, and so it's
Sounds
probably
like the Hulk.
less complicated, in a Superman style.
That's right.
In a phone box. Jeff to the rescue.
Which there are no phone boxes anymore, so
Could be a struggle.
it's tricky, isn't it?
Well, you talked about the kids being taught, but we've got a nice story also in the paper this week. Lots of kids are now being taught, especially Alderbrook School. They are piloting this new nationwide event of life-saving lessons as part of the school curriculum. This is great news. It should be for every school. I just don't understand why it's only happening now. I think it should have always been the case that I always think that was school. Like I always think, you get your history lessons and your geography lessons and things. But even when I was at school, I used to say, I'd love like a life lessons one. Just things like learning how to operate a bank
100%.
account and things
call.
like that. I would
Yeah.
love to see that in all our schools,
Yeah.
and being responsible with credit cards and money.
Yeah.
And
I think there's lots. I was speaking at the Business Awards the other night, and we was having a conversation, and the same thing had cropped up, saying that some people that go through the academic process and go through to university come out, and they're actually not very employable because they haven't got much life experience.
Yeah.
And so we almost need lessons like life saving, managing money, running businesses.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that I think we should do is I think we should be almost a course on selling. And when I say selling, is people have the fear of the word selling, but we're all selling ourselves all the time. So if you go to an interview, you have to be able to sell yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think there's certain things and skills that we should be teaching children at school to do that will really help them later on in life. And
even social media skills,
Yeah.
don't put this on Facebook. You'll regret it when you're 30.
I think you said the right word,
Yes.
life skills,
Yeah.
almost a life
Life
skills
skills.
course. Yeah, I think it would be really useful.
There's a lot with there's a lot with Google at the moment as well. They're doing a hashtag I am remarkable, which is a bit like you've just said, Ian, about we're as a nation we're all very modest and we don't like to sort of push ourselves.
Are you saying that with these two here? I mean,
Well, not these two. No, there are exceptions. And they're doing a massive program out there to businesses about hashtag I am remarkable and knowing your personal skills and how to get those across to other businesses and things. So.
What about common sense?
yeah, I don't have much of that.
You
to
know,
be fair.
I don't think that's something you can teach.
No,
them.
exactly. But like you said, you were going through the university system and things like that, and people are coming out the other end and not quite knowing what saucepan to use and just common sense.
Just, sensible things.
Yeah.
I've just noticed, by the way, that your mic cover matches your shirt beautifully.
Thank you very much.
Oh, nicely done, Geoff.
How coordinated. I
last
didn't get the memo.
And I like the way you puffed your chest out as that was mentioned.
Ta-da!
the other day you had a friend in here, didn't you, Geoff? And you were both like, "Oh, we've matched again!
Exactly.
Fantastic!
Yeah.
It's obviously your thing. You like matching."
Follow the Instagram feed on the on the socials.
We had a great event happening this week in Solihull. Tell us all about the circus, Mel.
Oh, it was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. It wasn't work at all. We brought a company in that has acts who perform at Covent Garden, Edinburgh Fringe, Glastonbury. So they really, really are skillful entertainers that we brought in. And we had a bus, a nice big yellow school bus, American style, in Mell Square that was their sort of green room, changing room. But the brilliant part about it for the town centre, I feel, is that we had the performance space in Mell Square, which had everybody giggling. But also they did roaming acts. So from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that you could see something in the whole of the town centre, and some of them were crazy.
I saw the pictures. Yeah, there's two guys in those old-fashioned swimming suits running around Touchwood.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. There was a girl on a Viking ship. being sort of hauled around by her Viking pal, and she went and knocked on the door of Travel Bag and asked them if they'd got any cruises. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. So, but we had great feedback, really good feedback.
And when you keep saying Mell Square, I want you to start saying My Square.
My Square.
It's your square,
It
Mel.
will be so.
You do enough for this town. It was named after you. I just know it.
Yeah, the Viking ladies there. Yeah, so,
no, great
yeah.
pictures in this
Yeah.
week's paper.
It was fun, and we were very, very lucky with the weather.
And well done for putting on so many
Yeah.
such fantastic events. And you've, of course, got another amazing event coming up very soon, the Bid Awards, the Solihull Bid
The
Awards.
awards, yeah, it's brilliant.
It's all on you this week, Mel. Tell us about that.
So the awards the Solihull Bid Excellence Awards are on the 21st of November. Tickets are available now. And but it's basically celebrating the fact that the talent pool and the brilliance of Solihull Town Centre is celebrated to a wider audience. And it's also an awards, unlike a lot of other awards, in that it's very inclusive. So we make sure that the ticket price for people who work here is subsidised, and that there's no strict dress code. People can attend in whatever they want, and we can celebrate the talents of a Saturday girl at Topshop alongside with a chief exec of National Grid. So it's a level playing field for everybody to come together and celebrate their awesomeness.
So you had everyone nominated in, but you've
We've
whittled
had
it
a
down
shortlist.
to the shortlist.
The official shortlist will be released next week.
Can we vote?
No, sadly. It's actually, we have judges that come in from outside the area so that there's no conflict of interest. So we bring people in that don't sort of say, well, I always have my nails done there, so I'd like to vote for her.
Right.
So we do this sort of complete external process, very strict. And the judges then come and interview. So there's a sifting process. And then a very, very long interview.
And what will they win?
So they will win. The shortlisted will be invited to the awards, and then they win the coveted prize. They get a lovely trophy, so a big glass trophy for each category.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the venue and who's presenting with you this year?
Yes, I can. So it's at the St John's Voco Hotel again, because it's the only place big enough for us, to be honest.
Big
And the
space.
fact that it's a really nice space and it's all been refurbed, I have to say that it's beautiful if you haven't been there. And this year, the star presenter is me.
Oh, fantastic.
Because we've decided to sort of rechannel some of the funding. Again, we don't get a lot of funding for it. It's all not for profit.
Sure.
So we've moved a little bit of the funds and put on a live band instead. So whereas before we had a DJ, we've sort of shifted some funds and people will have to put up with me. However, I do have a glamorous assistant, John, who also works at the Bid, and he doesn't know this yet, but I'm thinking of getting to wear something sequined or
Nice.
something
Nice
like
work,
that.
yeah.
And nobody knows the awards, the criteria, the process better than you to
thank you,
host
yeah,
it. So,
yeah.
so sometimes you can pull in a host. I host events, and sometimes it's great, but you have to do for what might be a couple of hours. You have to do a lot of research to be able to stand on that stage and be
Yeah,
knowledgeable.
yeah.
Well, no one's got more knowledge of it than you, so you're the
Yeah.
perfect host. So.
Yeah, so it's going to be really exciting.
Well, it's great recognising, the talents in our town.
I
And
know.
we're just really looking forward to the best What's On person, the best radio station and the best newspaper. That's what we're excited about, aren't we?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, you're all invited, so you're going to be there to see all the fun and games.
That'd be
so,
great.
yeah,
Amazing. Finally, this week, there's just an appeal. The police have asked us for witnesses to come along. There was a fatal bus collision that happened on Monday, September the 16th, where a lady was hit on Poplars Road at about 7:30 a.m. in the morning. You've probably all heard it on the news, and it's in this week's paper. So if you do have any information, the police have please asked you to get in contact. If you were in the area, anything, just so, no
it's
matter...
awful, isn't it?
Just contact them, west-midlands.police.uk.
Okay.
Anything else to discuss news-wise this week, guys, or are we going to move on to the What's On in a minute?
Let's see what's on.
We'll see you in a bit.
You're listening to Solihull Radio.
Welcome back. You are now listening to the What's On section of our podcasts, and we are going to start with Saturday, the 21st of September, with the Dream Team that you were just listening to for our news and Solihull Observer updates. Right, we start with a fine and local food fair at Mell Square. This is Saturday the 21st. It's along the High Street and Mill Lane. Starts at 9 o'clock. finishes around 5:30, and it's Mel, is that the normal farmers market thing
No, I
that
think
comes in?
that's the additional one. So that's
Okay.
a really focused one.
Excellent stuff. And if you want some more information, it's skets.co.uk, sketts.co.uk.
And I love this one because it's lots of local produce. They, contact our local farmers and people,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's supporting the local community.
It's something like 20 miles, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 20 miles radius of the
I love
market.
that. Love it.
Good stuff.
Also on Saturday morning there's a Solihull School sixth form and senior school open morning, 9:30am until noon. There's a tour at 9:30, there's a headmaster's speech at 11am, and the last tour of the school is at 11:30am. If you want further details or to attend that, just give them a call, 0121 705 4273.
Ian, have you ever found your way or got lost at Tudor Grange Park?
I get lost all the time. I never studied that at school. That would have been a life skills course for me. Orienteering would help, wouldn't it?
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, which
Wouldn't
is
it?
taking place at Tudor Grange Park, where you can run or walk around the park, finding checkpoints using a map, a bit like a treasure hunt.
Okay.
Is what I'm told on that one. So you can join in the fun for this outdoor adventure sport. There's a website you can check out, which is www.octavian-drubers.org.
Excellent stuff.
Sounds fun. Also on Saturday, it's the Balsall Common Village Fete happening at Lavender Hall Park. CV7 7BN is the postcode for your sat-nav. 2pm until 5pm, and there's going to be over 40 stalls, afternoon tea, children's activities, including go-karts, face painting, pony rides. I'm going, there's pony rides. And it's a fun event for the whole family, so do try and pop along there if you can.
So there's also the Onam celebrations with the Solihull Malayalis at Dorridge Village Hall, B93 8QA, 10:30 till 2:30. And this is welcoming back King Mahabali and celebrating the festival in all its glory and charm.
Can somebody Google that for me?
I know, it sounds amazing. I think it's a Malaysian
Okay.
event or some religious, but apparently it's incredible, I think. I read something about it, and they have incredible costumes and dances and
Wowzers.
everything. So it sounds as though it's going to be fun. So, yeah.
Is this one of your acts coming up at the course?
It's not actually, but I was just taking a little bit of an interest in that,
Yeah.
really. The Beach Boys tribute band there taking place at the core. So some good vibrations going on as
Nice
people
work.
get around, surfing. I like the Beach Boys, actually. I always forget about the Beach Boys. I asked the question earlier on social media saying what's people's favourite tribute band they've ever seen. And that's one that's just sprung to mind. That's got a good, nice summer feel, isn't it?
Beach Boys, yeah.
Probably more hits than we'd think.
Yeah.
Also on Saturday, there's a Scar Night happening at the Knoll Royal British Legion, 7pm until midnight there. They're always fun nights. And they put on some great events, don't they? They're friends of yours, aren't they?
Ken's the chairman there. Nice fellow. Gets some really good performers.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, Fun in the Park is back at Tudor Grange Park, B91 3LU, 11 till 5. And this is a fantastic event. It features everything, including dog shows, classic car show, and a packed programme of performances from talented local dancers, which will be great, and musicians too in the main area. This event is fun for all of the family, and just look it up online, and that's www.funinthepark-solihull.co.uk.
Sounds good. Is that a free event or a paid event? I'm not too sure.
I believe you do have to pay a small entrance fee to go in.
Sounds like
and
you get lots for your money then.
And the lucky people that go through the entrance gate will, of course, get a food voucher booklet for
Brilliant.
the food festival. So
And that's on Sunday, the
And-
22nd.
And they'll be able to come and see me. The Solihull Radio bid gazebo will be put up there. We've got an area set aside for us. I don't know if we're going to broadcast live, but we may record some interviews with some people that are
great.
also doing it, and then we'll podcast those out. But I think they did ask me to compare a dog show for
nice.
them.
Fun.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Another one to add to the skill set.
Yeah, so I'm
This
busy.
CV is getting increasingly longer by the
but
moment.
I've looked up some of the dog breed names. Not a clue on some of them. You know, just some of them are really long, tricky names. So I'll see how it goes. But to be honest, it's, the waggiest tail and
kindest eyes.
kindest eyes, and things like that.
Oh, nice fun. And that concludes all the exciting things to do and see this week in Solihull. If you have an event going on, let us know so we can let everyone know. And thanks, guys, for being such amazing co-hosts this week. What a lovely, fun podcast. And every week we're getting more happier news stories. We're trying
That's
to
what we're
stay
after.
away from the guns and the crime, and
Yeah.
and if it's not happy, we're coming up with the solutions as
Exactly.
we can this
That's
week.
it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sounds perfect.
Happy?
Happy.
Happy stuff.
Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you again next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Solihullradio.com